Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake up call. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, and so with that all being said, let's get ready to get black into it. All right, here we go.
It's the one and only queen of receipts, the dropping gems in these YouTube streets. The lawyer always nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss the wake up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true.
Put on the full armor of God, 613 in Ephesians. Dear God, protect Miss Metcalf's heart. I seen the way she was grieving. Jeff dragging it for attention made me seem like a demon. No intentions of sitting twin down when I sat down in them bleachers. It was raining, a familiar face waved me into the tent. I told him crazy weather, and then asked him if I could sit. You see, I used to date his cousin, was asking him how she's been, and out the blue I'm getting pressed by the twins and two of their friends. Hunter told me get the fuck out, I would've if he just asked, but instead I told him no, and Hunter started getting mad. Their two friends got in position, and so I reached in my bag. I said don't touch me, I could tell that this shit was about to get bad. Austin muffed me, I said touch me again and I'm gonna act. Then he punched me, then they rushed me like coming in for a sack. Hell of my true, tried to back up, Austin grabbed my back, pulled me back. He tried to grab me and I pushed him, I think that's when he got jabbed. Pleaded self-defense, Anthony against the state, and the jury knocked one melanated face. Suppressed the evidence, focused on my race. They gave me 35, murder was the case. Mellow.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. So let's get ready to get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you. As you come in, please hit the like button. Very important that you do so. Okay, so let's see who's in here. All right, Danielle, We the People, Love Christy, Claudette, the lovely T, Lillian X, Nessa G, Cookie, Just Anticipate, Dragon Lily. All right, Sunset Nights, Desmond, Quiet Storm, Nessie X, We the People, 57 Beige Fox, Deronda, Love Christy. All right, Cassandra Slay, Above All That Drama. Let's get ready to get into it. I see you, Alice, Bookhorse DC. All right, Mr. Elevation. Shout out to all my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. All right, and shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. So let's get ready to get into it. All right, Bronze Flat Power God, I see you. Dark Tube, Nene. Okay, so without further ado, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so with that all being said, we're going to be live again at 12 o'clock for those of you that want your war updates. Okay, I'm waiting for just a second because I think some of the royals went to the other chat. Okay, I sent Desmond to go get them. And so hopefully they'll be here in a minute. Now, let's get ready to get into it. There is a very interesting story that I saw about this black teen. Now, I'm sure this is all racially motivated, but you know, the devils love to lie. They can't stand the truth, and they always try to act as though they're not making anything about race, okay? And that nothing's a hate crime. So this young man was supposedly tricked or set up by his ex-girlfriend is what I'm hearing, but we're going to go to the report in a second. And he was attacked, viciously attacked, okay, when he was with some people who don't look like him. Now, as I said, they're trying to act as though they don't think it has anything to do with race because they say the victim didn't tell them that the people said anything about race. All right, so let's get into the shady details of it all. Now, I want you all to pay attention that since this Carmelo Anthony trial has ended, there has been plenty of racial things that have happened to our community by the other people. But they want to act like we're the ones who make things about race, okay? I just want you all to take note of that. All right, the cross burning, let us not forget. Okay, the Black people's house being shot up. And let me tell you all something. Did I tell you all that the man who shot up those Black people's home was a fire chief? Okay, a fire chief. Please pay attention. Okay, let's get ready to get into it, beloveds. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Tonight, we are hearing from the Lenore County Sheriff's Office for the first time after a disturbing video that went viral showing a group assault on a teenager. 3 arrests have already been made, with others expected to be charged. Now to your signs, Olivia Wolfson has new details for us live from Kinston tonight. Olivia, what's the latest?
Ken, right now they believe that the victim's ex-girlfriend actually set this all up, and they also do not believe it's racially motivated at this time, but they are still investigating.
Obviously, if we receive any more information, or there's one video that don't have any sound to it of the kid being choked, and obviously if we find something that's racially motivated, we will step up the investigations and go in that direction.
Detective Brittany Parsons also says the victim has not mentioned any racial element to the assault. So far, 2 adults and 1 teen have been arrested. 4 other teens are also getting charges. 1 is related to Sheriff Rogers' wife.
I have served in law enforcement for more than 34 years, and my integrity and trust of this community means everything to me. Regardless of whether you're an individual as a family member, friend, or a stranger, the law applies equally to everyone.
The NAACP was also at the press conference and had this to say after speaking with the sheriff.
But based upon the conference that took place here on today, we stated one of the juveniles that actually did commit an act was biracial as well. So like I said, it puts us in a bad spot, but we know based upon the evidence, as the investigation continues, it may show us different, especially if the sound to one of those videos is found.
Warrants say the victim was choked until going unconscious, popped the blood vessel in his eye, and was hit in the face with a glass bottle, chipping his tooth.
No parent should have to view that type of behavior happening to their child. No child, regardless of the color, should have to endure what that teenager endured. And we as the NAACP will stand strong behind the family.
Here's a little bit of a timeline of what's going on here. The incident happened on May 23rd. A school resource officer was notified on May 27th and began interviewing students. The victim and his father then went to the sheriff's office on June 15th. The SBI is now also involved with the investigation. In Kinston, I'm Olivia Wolfson, 9 on your side.
First at 6 tonight, we were hearing from the Lenore County Sheriff's Office for the first time after a disturbing video that went viral showing a
Now, let me tell you all something. They know darn well it was a hate crime, and one of the people involved was biracial. Here's the kicker to the story. The teenager that was involved, that was biracial, is in fact the teenager that was attacked. Okay, the teenager that was attacked. Now, I saw the video and it's too graphic to show on here. Okay, but I want you all to pay attention because they know darn well it was a hate crime. And the fact that there's a relative, who was that guy, the chief of police? Because I'm multitasking. But at the end of the day, honey, he's not going to try to do a thorough investigation. That's why he's already trying to come out the gate saying that he doesn't know if it's a hate crime or not, or if it had anything to do with race, rather. Okay? I saw the video. Yes, the person they attacked was biracial, but what the hell does that have to do with it? Because we know that historically, racist devils do not care if you're part white. They don't care. The only thing they care about is the part of you that is black. Okay. And let us not forget that a few years ago, around 2017, 18, or 19, somewhere around there, the 8-year-old biracial little boy was attacked by 14 and 15-year-old white teenagers, and they hung him from a tire and then shoved him off of a picnic table and left him there. He had to struggle to free himself. He had rope burns all around his neck, and there was no consequences for their actions. There was no type of punishment. Okay? The sheriff basically said, oh, they were just joking. It was just a prank that almost took his life. Okay? So these devils are so nefarious. I want you all to pay attention because they want to sit here and act like they don't know. Oh, we don't know if it's racially motivated. Of course they know it is. Then they hit him in the face with a bottle. I don't even think I saw that part. Okay, and there's another video also. You can go in my X account to see it. I'm thinking that something is something wrong with Twitter right now because I'm keep getting a notification on my I'm on my X account. I mean, I keep getting a notification that the posts are not loading. I'm getting it from my computer and my phone. Something must be going on with X because I wanted to show you all this lady's TikTok that she did about it. But hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. This is such a darn shame. But there's also a video where there's two white men beating the hell out of a teenager that's black who looks to be about 14 or 15 years old. Now, here's the thing. Someone posted saying that it was Travis, or not Travis Kelce, but saying that it was Jason Kelce. I don't know if that's Jason Kelce or not. Kind of looks like him, but I can't really tell. They said that one of them is Jason Kelce. And then these MAGA people started lying, saying that they put up a little thing saying why the fight started, basically saying that the guy called Jason Kelce's brother a homophobic slur, and then that's how it all started. That is not the same story. There was an incident with Jason Kelce that happened in 2024. Okay, where someone did call his brother a homophobic slur, but that was a white guy. And it was in broad daylight when he was leaving. This attack is happening at night. Okay, it's dark outside, and I don't even know if that's Jason Kelce, as I said, but it darn shouldn't have anything to do with that. They're just trying to paint it so that the black guy looks like he's to blame and like they had a reason to jump him. Two grown men. Now, I want you all to pay attention because at the end of the day, these racist MAGA devils, the men, they're nothing but cowards. Okay, they will never just go up to a black man and fight him one-on-one. The only time they'll go up to a black man and approach him is if they have a gun and think the black man doesn't, or if they're in a group. Okay, just like the group that jumped Carmelo Anthony, because even their seeds are the same. Okay, but what they will do is they will fight women and children and the elders in the black community. Now, I want you all to pay attention because you all know what they're doing, right? You all know exactly what they're doing. They're taking out their anger and their frustration because of the whole thing with Carmelo and Austin, which I find it interesting because they didn't do any of this before the trial. They did it after. And it's interesting because Carmelo was found guilty and has been given 35 years. So why are they still so damn mad? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, they're still so mad because they know that the truth is coming out. They know that there's a very good possibility that this whole trial may be over, or this conviction may be overturned because it was, in fact, unlawful. Okay? These devils are very busy. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. I'm going to go to another video that someone did about it on TikTok. I don't even know what this young lady is saying about it. This is the first video I saw. Okay, so let's just go to it. I don't know what's going on with X. And look at these two devils. One of them looks a lot like Dylan Ruth. Dylan Ruth has that same ugly arse haircut and everything.
There's a case out of Lenoir County, North Carolina that has me absolutely sick to my stomach. That's saying the least about how I feel about this. This was one of the most horrific videos I've ever seen of an assault on a child, a 16-year-old Black male. I think that's important because everyone else in the video was white and they all basically took turns attacking this young man, and it's horrific. A follower sent me this story yesterday evening, and she said she'd been upset about it all day long, and she was sending it to all different content creators that she followed because she was worried that these kids might just get a slap on the wrist. And there's two people who were luckily, I guess, adult age where they could be charged, pictured above, which I will get to who these people are. But let's get into this. So according to the Lenoir County Sheriff's Office, multiple arrests have been made, and several juveniles are expected to face charges after a 16-year-old boy was assaulted by a group of teens at a bonfire on May 24th. Investigators say the victim was a Black male teenager, and videos of the incident have since gone viral on social media. In the first one, the group is around a bonfire, and it appears to be at least one liquor bottle is seen. A girl with long dark hair, who I believe, based on the news conference that occurred just a couple of hours ago that the sheriff did, was the victim's ex-girlfriend who lured him there to be assaulted. This is alleged, but this is seemingly the information the sheriff's office is putting out. The girl with the long dark hair sucker punched the victim, and then another follows the victim and takes him to the ground. A second video shows the teen in a chokehold on the ground for a length of time as others also hit him, and a camera phone is put in his face. He's eventually released and holding his face before trying to stand. A third video shows the victim in a chokehold by a different teen who eventually lets him go as the girl repeatedly tells him to release the victim. The victim appears stunned and unresponsive on the ground after being released. The video is I had such a visceral reaction. Anybody who was at this bonfire that did not take action, that didn't try to stop it, anybody who videotaped this, anybody who participated in this should be charged as adults. No questions asked. This was horrific, and it shows signs of people who have absolutely no conscience. The Lenoir County Sheriff's Office has charged 18-year-old Ashton Clark to the left of Lenoir County with a felony assault by strangulation and conspiracy. 19-year-old Landon Harris of Pitt County is charged with cyberbullying and conspiracy. A 17-year-old juvenile, who they didn't release the name, they didn't release any photos, has been charged with felony assault by strangulation and conspiracy. And 6 additional juveniles have been identified and will be charged with offenses ranging from assault with a deadly weapon, simple assault, and conspiracy. Sheriff Jackie Rogers also announced that the State Bureau of Investigation has been asked to review the surrounding circumstances of the case. He additionally addressed concerns regarding a young woman seen in one of the videos who was the first one seen to punch the victim in the face. Sheriff Jackie Rogers stated that this is a second cousin of his wife, and that she will also be facing charges. He kind of sent that home in the press conference today as well. He's like, I've been in law enforcement for 34 years, and I'm doing the right thing. She will be charged. He's trying to make it seem like that's not going to have any impact on how she is charged. We'll see. The victim's family says he suffered broken teeth, ruptured blood vessels, and has since left the area while continuing to receive medical care. Lenoir County Sheriff Jackie Rogers has scheduled a news conference, which was today, and I don't know if there's going to be any further updates. He's very active on his Facebook, so I will keep watching that. But I am so horrified by this, and I think that anybody watching this should talk about it. So to my fellow creators, please consider sharing this video, reposting it, creating your own content about it. The more eyes on this case, the better, and this means the more likely there will be public accountability.
Absolutely egregious. Okay. Yes, Love Christie. It was attempted murder. Okay? Now, if he pulled out a gun and shot every last one of them, I guarantee you he'd get the death penalty. Now, I want you all to marinate on that for a second. I'm being very serious. Okay? If he'd had a weapon, was able to get to and defend himself and take each one of them out, or any of them out, they'd be trying to give him the death penalty. Okay? Please pay attention. Now, they say the girlfriend lured him there. Well, I bet she doesn't look like him. I'll guarantee you that much. Okay? And they're saying, oh, one of them was biracial, so we're not sure. They know darn well what it was, because they don't give a darn about biracial people. And even the mothers of biracial children don't give a darn about them sometimes. How many times have I told you all that my own sons, their friends, when they were growing up, that were biracial, who had mothers that were Karens, they would call them the N-word. They would come and tell us that their own mothers would call them the N-word. Okay, that's a darn shame. Absolutely nefarious. Nene says, Queen said we're under siege. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and so let's continue. Prayers to that young man. I hope that he has a speedy recovery. I hope he is able to get his teeth fixed. Hit him in the face with a bottle. I mean, the nerve of it. What type of charges have they gotten, and what are the consequences? And then the sheriff said that this lady's going to get consequences. I don't believe that. And if she does, it'll likely just be a slap on the wrist. Okay, it won't be anything serious. I'm pretty sure. Jerron said the girlfriend has already been identified as white. Thank you for that, beloved. I figured that. Okay, I absolutely figured that. No surprise there. Okay, and here's how you know the devils hate us so much. Because many of them, these MAGA minions and the like-minded ones of them. Hold on, Lillian X, please be careful of your comments in the chat, beloved. I'm going to delete that. You all, please be careful. No racially charged comments, no slurs, okay, no disparaging comments. You can say what you want, but don't do that. All right, now, with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention. This is just all real crazy. These people are just trying to do their darndest. But here's the thing. They hate us so much that even that little baby, Cohen Wiley, that lost his life, they're even talking trash about that. Acting like, oh, well, the mother shouldn't have been stealing. Oh, well, they should have done what the cops told them. So they will still even make allowances for the police, no matter even if it's an innocent child. I mean, so that should let you know it's no wonder, no shock for any of us that their ancestors, their grandparents or their great-great-grandparents and on and so forth through their families, it's no shock that those are the same people who fed black babies to alligators using them as bait, okay, who cooked and ate some of our ancestors as well. Okay, so let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Read the Delectable Negro if you haven't done so.
Sick of you people always pulling out your race card. Just because a melanin challenge cop deletes a 1-year-old baby at a Walmart in Mississippi doesn't mean that it's racially motivated. It doesn't matter that his coworker filed a formal complaint against him for using racial slurs inside of the police precinct just a few days before this occurred. He did what he had to do to stop a shoplifter from taking a $30 box of diapers. Who cares that she had a receipt? She fit the profile. Stop using your race card. Let's use the baby card instead. A 1-year-old baby was taken off the earth for a $30 box of diapers. You shot into that vehicle knowing that that baby was in it. There are cameras inside and outside of Walmart, so even if they were stealing the $30 box of diapers, you could have gotten a tag number, tracked her down, and she could have got the misdemeanor that she deserved. This is not about race. This is about a lack of humanity by a certain group, and I want you to decide for yourself which group it is. And I'm so sick of you people always pulling out your race card. Just because a melanin challenge cop deletes a 1-year-old baby.
Absolutely nefarious. Okay. And for anyone who missed it, he was being sarcastic. Yes, Claudette, it absolutely is horrific. Okay. I mean, and then and that's another thing. Yes, as it pertains to little Cohen Wiley, and they're also saying that we're playing the race card. Well, we don't have to play the race card. The bottom line is, the fact of the matter is, had that been a white baby that the officers killed, they'd be already in jail right now. Okay. But they definitely wouldn't have done that. They would never have knowingly fired into a vehicle knowing that a white baby was in there, or a white child, period. Okay. We all know that. So with that all being said, let's go to this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Don't forget, we're back at 12. Okay, for the next live, it's going to be the war updates. It's getting serious out here. Trump has lost his mind completely, and Satan Yahoo is still out of control, and the deal is off. Please pay attention.
Beautiful baby boy named Cohen Wiley is dead because an officer in Senatobia, Mississippi didn't understand or didn't care about the most basic rule of engagement. You never fire into a moving vehicle, let alone with children inside. A box of diapers, that was the alleged trigger. A beautiful life completely and inexcusably cut short. I've been following this story since it broke. I've been absorbing the videos, watching the family demand justice. And most of all, I've been reading the comments. And the comments are where the real sickness of this country shows its face. People making excuses. People trying to rationalize the execution of a baby over a box of diapers. So to anyone sitting in those comment sections talking about how society in this country is in a state of decline, open your eyes. This country didn't just suddenly start degrading. It has never been great. It has always been built on a foundation of systemic racism and state-sanctioned violence. Stop looking back at a fairy tale past that never existed. Until we fucking stop behaving like this. Until we stop devaluing human life for corporate property, this land will never be great.
Well, no lies detected. Okay, none whatsoever. Absolutely no lies detected. Okay, so this is just all getting real out of hand. But let's continue. Let's continue. Now, I see, hold on just a second. I saw someone asking in the chat, how come we can't use the word white in the titles? Because you need to drop a video, beloved. Okay, so listen. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but I just don't. I think it affects the algorithm. I would just spell it, if I were you, WHYTE. Okay, just like if I put the word black in the title, I put BLK. Okay, so that's just what I would do. Everybody doesn't do that, but some of us just do. Okay, so now with that all been said, let's continue, because this is all so crazy. Yeah, there seems that there's some hidden evidence, not actually hidden evidence, but an exhibit that was basically included in the other exhibits during the trial of Carmelo Anthony, but it was never presented, okay, for the jury to see, is what I have heard. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, it's going to be among these videos that I'm about to play. I think it'll be like the third one.
Bernardo Villalona here with the details. Bernardo, how strong are the grounds for appeal here?
So, good next morning to you, Diane.
Yeah, I like that you're wearing the orange.
Yes. So, in terms of an appeal, first off, an appeal is common, it's formal. A notice of appeal has already been filed. So, in terms of what grounds he may have for this appeal, you have to think, number one, every time that the defense attorney objected, that is a ground right there that he preserved for appeal. Secondly, having to deal with jury selection. Remember, there was a Batson challenge that the prosecution excluded 3 black female jurors and that there were no race-neutral reasons for that exclusion. Third, having to deal with the jury instructions in terms of self-defense and in terms of provocation. Fourth, having to deal with whether the judge should have gave criminal negligent homicide to the jury to consider. But fifth, having just to take everything into account in terms of the courtroom and cameras in the courtroom. These are all grounds for appeal that I think, of course, that an appellate attorney is going to bring forward. Now, the question would be ultimately is whether an appeal will actually be granted and the conviction reversed.
The jury sentenced Anthony to 35 years. He could have gotten 90. Do you think they're better off targeting the conviction on appeal or trying to just target the sentencing and get that reduced?
No, they have to do both. They have to do both. And just to be clear, when it came to the sentencing, yes, the sentencing guidelines would have been 5 to 99 years, with the exception that the sudden passion instruction was given to this jury. So they had the option of reducing the sentence and making it from 2 to 20 years. Now, also, the defense had an option of having the judge make a decision as to what his sentence would be, but he chose for the jury to make that decision. Now, ultimately, of course, one ground of appeal would be that the sentence was excessively harsh, and an appellate court will look at that. Now, whether they will reverse what the jury decision was, that's another question.
Looking at everything that transpired with this trial.
The jury reached a verdict here fairly quickly. Given what it was asked to do, that's not particularly surprising with that focus on what exactly happened.
Dallas attorney David Cole has handled appeals for decades. He says he was not surprised with how the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony played out, even after jurors were given the chance to reduce Anthony's punishment if they found he acted under sudden passion.
It's a solid sentence. If they've come to that conclusion, they're going to award a pretty substantial sentence.
This sudden passion argument was kind of added towards the end of this trial. Why wasn't it there at the beginning, and why is it added now?
Because we've determined now that it was murder. It was not self-defense. But in the sentencing context, the sudden passion thing is a sentencing idea. If that happened, well, maybe you get a break on your sentence. Here fairly quickly, given what it was asked to do, that's not particularly surprising with that focus on what exactly happened.
Dallas attorney David Cole has handled appeals for decades. He says he was not surprised with how the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony played out, even after jurors were given the chance to reduce Anthony's punishment if they found he acted under sudden passion.
It's a solid sentence. If they've come to that conclusion, they're going to award a pretty substantial sentence.
This sudden passion argument was kind of added towards the end of this trial. Why wasn't it there at the beginning, and why is it added now?
Because we've determined now that it was murder. It was not self-defense. But in the sentencing context, the sudden passion thing is a sentencing idea. If that happened, well, maybe you get a break on your sentence.
So we now have a sentence. Is there grounds for an appeal as we look forward to the next steps in this case for Carmelo?
The first is, are we in the right county? Should we be in Collin County? I mean, the law says you should be, but I mean, is there a problem with publicity, or we just can't be there? Then we go to the race issue, because that's before we even start the trial, we got to have a jury. And so did we do that right? And then once we got the trial going and heard all the evidence, did we tell the jury what to do correctly?
Cole says one of the biggest issues likely to come up on appeal is how the jury was selected. The defense argued black jurors were improperly removed from the panel, a potential violation of what's known as the Batson Law.
The argument is it's not so much that the jury pool is all white. The problem is when the jurors were struck, because both sides have the right to take people off that they don't like. The Anthony argument is that the prosecution used it to get rid of the black jurors.
If this goes to an appeal court, what is the likelihood and the probability that this case gets thrown out?
A lot of it will depend in the advocacy and how the court reacts to it. Is the issue in front of the Court of Appeals a question of fact, a question of law? A question of fact is what happened. If the Court of Appeals sees it as questions of law, the chance of success goes way up.
So these are all of the things that's wrong with the Carmelo Anthony case that I found. As somebody that served 10 years at 16, that know what they're talking about. So as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the best platform on the app. I'm your brother, No Illuminati. Let's go. So the first thing that made no sense to me, and I mean, I had the hardest time trying to, scratch my head on it, right? When I was locked up and I went to jail with hair on my head. I had a hell of a lot more hair on my head than Carmelo. I was never asked to cut my hair. I took my mugshot with my hair, and I went to prison with my hair. And on both mugshots, my jail mugshot and my prison mugshot, you can see I still have my hair. So what was the reason for him cutting his hair again? Now, side note, I'm coming from the space of believing that this case is being used to provoke racial wars or to provoke race conversations in America, because there's no reason that they cut his hair. And already knowing how people, especially my people, feel about their hair, its strength and what it represents, why would y'all cut his hair for his mugshot? That was so unnecessary. But yet again, this is something I know as a person that was locked up. Second thing that makes no sense to me. We're talking about $1 million institution. Majority of the schools in America spend, and I actually researched this, so 1 second. Majority of the schools in America spend, on average, $20,000 to $100,000 on just cameras. So that means we're not talking about a porch light, a ring light, something that I would think would produce an unclear shot like that. We're talking about high performance cameras, $20,000 to $100,000 spent on a minimum. We should always have shots like this. But if you notice, this is not the type of high profile footage we get. This is the footage we get for local crimes. Ain't it so odd how on a local level, you can give us clear 4K shots of something like teen takeovers, simply teenagers outside trying to enjoy the environment. You can give us clear footage on that. And they got tattoos, they skin tone, you can even see a damn pimple on their face. But when it comes to a high profile case where we desperately need to know what happened, where it's controversial, where it deals with race, it's always these edited, audited, altered, unclear versions. So my 3 points. The camera only gets blurry when the story gets interesting, point 1. Point 2. You can zoom in on a hoodie from 3 blocks down the road. And I ain't even got to say the cases. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But $1 million institution can't give us a clear camera shot from within its own facility. This tent was on its own premises, and you can't even give us a clear shot. We still looking at 2D shot frames in 2026. Yeah, okay. And lastly, technology didn't fail us on all of these high-profile cases. The decision of the so-called authority in law to share the full information is what failed us. That's why today, if you go on, you will see other shots and angles of the camera footage. In all cases, this is what happens. So I'm just wondering, is y'all paying attention to the patterns, or have y'all just forgotten it? This case was some bullshit, and it was used as a way to start racial tensions. Till the next time, bring it back. Peace.
Was Carmelo Anthony's murder weapon?
Okay, now this is the lady reporting about that knife or the tool having the letter M engraved on it. Pay attention.
Ever shown during trial? Let's talk about it. During Carmelo Anthony's trial, we've heard of a knife, we've heard of a multi-tool that could possibly be used to tighten up cleats for when he runs. We've heard of a tool. Now you have to ask yourself, why is that? You want to know why? Because the actual murder weapon was never presented during the trial. And you want to know why? Because of this photo that I'm about to show you. State's Exhibit 34 was never presented during trial, and neither did the defense even try and bring it up. And why is that? Because, would it be because of the initials on the murder weapon? That's right, you have it. State's Exhibit number 34. The knife that was presented as the murder weapon, it was presented as an exhibit, but it was never presented during trial because of the logo that's up under the knife. There's an M. Now, if I'm still corrected, Carmelo starts with a K. Anthony starts with an A. Metcalf starts with an M. So who do you think this murder weapon belonged to? Yeah, that's right. This is why this exhibit was presented to get the case going, but it was never presented during trial. Now, for all you motherfucking attorneys out there, I just want to say this. All you defense attorneys that is calling this boy a murderer, and this boy brought a knife to the track meet. So he brought a knife with an M on the bottom, huh? When this is all said and done, all I want is for all the naysayers, all the defense attorneys, and all the podcasters, and all the naysayers. Don't bring your ass back over here. Don't bring your ass back over here. This boy is going to be exonerated from this shit when it's all said and done, because this case, Carmelo Anthony's case, is a damn mess. It is a cover up, and every single day that they put shit out, it's opening up just like the Epstein files. Let's go, Carmelo supporters. Until Carmelo Anthony comes home, I stand my ground. Free Carmelo. Drop down in the comments how you feel about this new evidence that was just released showing the murder weapon. Now I want you all to pay attention, because didn't I tell you all that was Hunter Austin's knife? Didn't I tell you all that once in the chat? If you remember, I told you all that I believe that was Hunter or Austin's knife, because someone told me that both of them carried a knife on their belts, like on their belt loop or somewhere around their waist. I told you all that. And all this time, these lying devils have been saying, oh, why did he bring a knife to the track meets? Well, he didn't. And I'm going to tell you something. When I really started suspecting that it belonged to Hunter or Austin was when they kept saying, or when I went back to that old video interview where Hunter said that Austin threw his backpack. And that's when I was like, yeah, he didn't have a knife in that backpack. Because if Hunter or Austin threw it, how did he have his hand in there the whole time? You see how all the lies are coming out? And these devils are so mad. Let me tell you something. They're so mad. And the video that I did yesterday on TikTok, which I'll show in a minute, they couldn't dispute anything in the video. So all they did was just say, like wishful thinking. And then one lady told me this isn't going to age well. And I told that Karen, sadly, neither will you. Okay, but let's continue. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video, and don't forget
tomorrow. So if you're curious about what I see in that video, like and follow. I do see a couple things in that video that I have not seen other people call out yet, so you probably want to follow. But this video is not about that. This video is for the 15 people who said that they asked Carmelo Anthony to leave that tent. And I just want to know, what was a child doing so bad that you did not want them to seek coverage from the rain? How much hate do you have to have in your heart to say, I don't want you to seek shelter from the rain under my tent. I would rather you go out there and be in the rain? Because we already know that his bus was en route. It just had not gotten there yet with their tent. We already know that he was invited to the tent. And I don't really want to dive too much about rumors and this and that. I really just want to dive into how this all started. Supposedly y'all asked him to leave the tent. 15 of you were so compelled that you wanted a child to leave your tent and go stand in the rain. And it made me pose the question, who raised you? And then when you see people like Jeff Metcalf getting on live and going off with his racial rhetoric, it kind of shows me who raised you. So to the 15 people who wanted a child to go out into the rain instead of being under their tent where they could stay dry, I would love for any of you to please DM me, come in on this video or something, because I want to understand your thought process. Like, we have lost all humanity when we want a child to stand out in the rain instead of being able to find shelter and stay dry. Like, America is so sad, bro.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with her. We have not lost all humanity. You see, the type of people that do things like that, they never had any humanity in the first place. That's why their ancestors could eat and devour ours. Okay, and that's not even mentioning all of the other heinous and depraved things that they did, and that some of them still do. Just like the video that we just talked about the young teenager being beaten so brutally and viciously by a group of thugs. Okay, who are their ancestors. Okay, please pay attention. It's a whole lot going on, honey. I want y'all to pay attention to it. Now, let's go to this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. So nefarious.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. So they finally decided to release some of the footage from the incident between Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. But the funny thing is, the video footage is doctored. Let's get into it. Now, two of the clips from Officer E. Cortez's body cam footage have the date of February the 10th of 2016 with two different timestamps. Okay, so can anyone explain that for the naysayers? Clearly, it has been doctored. Okay, and I find that all very interesting because why would they doctor the footage if they have nothing to hide? And also, if the footage showed that Carmelo Anthony was 100% guilty, don't you think they would have released that a long time ago, like right after it happened? Please pay attention. If you zoom in really close, you can definitely see that there were at least 4 people that attacked Carmelo. Okay, now you can get mad all you want, but that's just what it is. I know what I saw. Also, when you run it through AI says that there was an unusual transition, okay, an unusual transition between several of the clips. Okay, please pay attention. And let's just go ahead and ignore the fact that Hunter said that Austin grabbed Carmelo's backpack. Also, Jeff Metcalf said the same thing. And I'm sure he learned that from Hunter because he wasn't there. With that all being said, this is likely why they didn't want Hunter to take the stand. Okay, Hunter also said that it was a mistake in one of the interview clips. Please pay attention. Okay, so just take a listen to what Hunter said for yourselves.
He's a good kid. We just had a little altercation. That's really it, but he has a good heart. Everyone knows. Everyone around him knows he's a great kid. Just one mistake that dude and just.
Okay, he said we. Okay, and then he said just one mistake from that dude. Okay, please pay attention. We also now know that Jeff Metcalf had several of the witnesses over for a barbecue in May of 2025, right after the incident happened on April the 2nd. Okay, and I find it interesting that Mike Howard, the best defense attorney in Dallas for the last 10 years, didn't bother to argue against that. Okay, he should have argued, first of all, that the witnesses may have been too emotionally close to the family to give adequate testimony. Also, that they possibly have corroborated their stories and that there could have been coaching. And also that they could have had corrupted memories from discussing certain details of what happened on that day. Okay, please pay attention. And as you can see, under the Texas Multiple Assailants Doctrine, if you reasonably fear imminent harm or death from a group of people acting together, you are legally justified to use force, including deadly force, against any member of that group. You do not need to wait for every individual to attack you first. Okay, it's a group threat. So Texas courts view a swarming or coordinated group attack as a unified threat. If person A is threatening you, but person B and C are aiding, encouraging, or accompanying person A, you can legally defend yourself against B and C as well. Okay, now your use of force must be immediately necessary to protect yourself against death, serious bodily injury, or aggravated kidnapping or assault. Okay, please pay attention. This is absolutely going to be overturned upon appeal. And please, let's not leave out that Cynthia Carpenter posted this on social media, saying that Fox 4 reported from the track field as the ambulance was leaving that 2 guys and Hunter all said that Carmelo picked up the tool that they used to put up their tents, okay, after Austin punched him in the face. Okay, go ahead and read it for yourselves. Please pay attention. Okay, so the things that I've pointed out in this video alone should be enough to get the case overturned as far as I'm concerned. And also, if we're being honest with ourselves, we know absolutely that Carmelo is not guilty of red rum. And if so, how is he when Daniel Penny was given self-defense after he took out Jordan Neely, who wasn't even doing anything but talking real loud? Okay, the bottom line is, listen, I'm sorry that Austin lost his life. I really, really am. But at the end of the day, I'm also sorry that Carmelo's in prison for something that was out of his control. He didn't ask them to come and attack him. He didn't ask them to put hands on him, to want him to leave, or any of those things. And he did act in self-defense, and I believe that he absolutely was afraid for his own life and safety. Okay, now, with that being said, the prosecution never proved that he wasn't. Okay, they never proved intent. Please pay attention. Speaking of intent, I was in a TikTok live the other night with a Karen who had hair like Motley Crue from 1985, and she told me that in Texas, you don't need intent, okay, to prove red rum. But the point of the matter is you absolutely do need intent to prove red rum unless it's felony red rum. Now, Carmelo Anthony was not charged with nor convicted of felony red rum. Okay, that would include something like a robbery or a kidnapping. Okay, he was just convicted of red rum. Okay, so please pay attention. I just have to wonder why Mike Howard didn't subpoena the footage from Fox 4, because I'm sure that he knows all about it. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, yeah, so that's the thing. He should absolutely, you all are something else. Why are y'all laughing? Hold on, let me see what y'all are laughing at here. Oh, because I said that Karen's hair looked like Motley Crue from 1985? Well, it did, beloveds. I'm very serious. I wasn't even trying to be funny. It's the truth. Okay? Either that or a bird's nest. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I think I have a troll in here. Let me just see real quick. I think I saw a troll talking greasy. Hold on. Hold on. Said his own words to Piggy's fault. Carmelo seemed he rehearsed self-defense. I know how this goes. What does that fucking degenerate know? Well, I don't think you should be worried about what he knows. You should worry about what you know, beloved. Okay, because you sound like you may be mentally disturbed. Okay, so now with that all been said, let's continue. I'm going to bring up this video where this young man talks about, and this, by the way, is the same guy that drew up the paperwork. Okay, the one that came out and said that the appeal had to be filed within 30 days if they were going to claim inadequate counsel. And so I'm going to play this video of him talking about the length and time it may take for an appeal.
All right, I'm going to break down how long this appeals process could take, depending upon what they do. Like I said, man, this motion for a new trial, the one that I just drafted, if they're able to get that shit put together, they got to file it within 30 days. And then they will have another 45 days after that to develop that motion, which means Mike Howard, Toby Shook would be testifying to their own misconduct at an evidentiary hearing. You typically hire another attorney to basically overlook what they did and be like, yes, their practice standards, they fell below this standard of care for practicing attorneys in making all these errors at trial. You get an affidavit of that. You have an evidentiary, and then the judge can make a ruling. About 5% of cases in Texas get a new trial through this vehicle. So, small chance, but people don't have strength of arguments like this. There's also something called the cumulative effect doctrine, the cumulative errors doctrine. Because there were so many errors, while one in and of itself can't reverse the outcome of the trial, all of them taken together mandate a new trial. If they don't do that and they just go through the appeals, his appeals won't have anything with ineffective assistance of counsel. That'll take 18 months to 3 years. If he lost that appeal, then he would file a writ of habeas corpus under section 1107, I believe, in Texas, a state habeas corpus. That would have his ineffective assistance of counsel claims. That would take another 18 months to 3 years. If he lost that, his last avenue of relief would be through federal habeas corpus. There is an actual innocence exception in federal habeas corpus, which would get it out of Texas state court, which, you know, would allow that, wouldn't allow that system to make a determination on his guilt anymore. You know. So that process, start to finish, bro, could take 10 years. If they don't do the motion that I'm hoping that they're going to get put together, put a team together, get this shit done, he could be home in 60 days for a new trial. So we're talking 60 days, 3 years. The possibility, like I said, only 5% of those motions are granted. But the strength of the claims that he's got, it's a lot higher than that, man. And then if he loses that, then all those issues become part of the appellate record for that same 18 months to 3 years on his appeal.
All right, so good information. Now, SYP says you're grasping at straws. He's a killer. He should have just tried to defend himself with his fist, not a knife. Well, I'm sure he would have used his fist if there was just one person, but there was four. Okay, and that wasn't his knife. It belonged to Austin or Hunter. That's why it had the initial of their last name on there. Okay, and that's why it wasn't presented in court. Okay, anything else? Anything else? I mean, you're clearly pressed. Here's the thing. Why do you care what we're talking about? I mean, if you're so glad that Carmelo is in prison and he's been sentenced to 35 years, why are you still upset and obsessing yourself over Black people? I mean, why are you in the chats, okay, concerned about what we're talking about? I would just like to know, because isn't it enough for you that he's been found guilty and sentenced to 35 years? And then you say bad parenting, parents are money grubbers. I really kind of feel sorry for the young man. No, you don't. You just called him a killer. You see how these racist MAGA demons, I want you all to pay attention, beloveds. Let's get into it. They are so much like their nefarious ancestors who ate and devoured ours, okay? But they want to call us animals, okay? They want to say they want to call us monkeys, but we do not have the rhesus monkey gene. I want you all to pay attention here, okay? Because this person talks about bad parenting when in fact, we know that Jeff Metcalf beat his ex-wife, their mother. We know that they had to beat him and tore, okay? Didn't they break his arm? Did they break his arm or something? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. They tore his rotator cuff. That's what it was. Okay? That's what it was. But this person wants to talk about killers, but I'll guarantee you they don't think Daniel Penny is a killer. They don't think that Cal Rottenhouse is a killer. They don't think that Derek Chauvin is a killer, George Zimmerman, and the list goes on. And Lord knows, they may not even think that Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer did anything wrong. Because you see, that's just the nature of some people who think like this. It's called the Iceman Inheritance. And if you haven't read that book, beloved, you absolutely should. It'll give you a lot of insight into why some of these people, like the person that left this comment, why they're psychopaths and narcissists, and just why they're just so depraved and heinous. Okay, and why they have a history of being all of the above. Okay, please pay attention. Now I'm going to put this person out of their misery and certainly out of our business by blocking them. Goodbye, and have the day that you and your ancestors absolutely deserve. Okay, but let's continue. So here's the thing I want to express to you all. The appeal absolutely will be granted, and it will be either overturned or he will receive a new trial. Now, according to all of the evidence that is coming out, because I'm sure there's more that's going to come, I'm still waiting for some of that cell phone footage to be released. Okay, because some people, I do believe, absolutely still have it, and they're going to start feeling guilty, okay, if they're not already. That's just my opinion. And by that, I mean some of those teenagers, okay, because they were forced to tell those lies, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the difference between a wrongful conviction and an unlawful conviction. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Wait a second, I'll get to that in a moment. Before I do, let's go to this other couple of videos. Hold on. This is one from Minister Carl Soto. Okay, he's going to also talk about the appeals process. Now, he has clearly studied law, and I want you to pay attention because he says exactly some of the same points that I pointed out a week or so ago. Let's get into it. I'm going to share the screen.
I previously reported to you in a video that I published that this criminal conviction of first-degree murder that was handed down to our beloved young brother Carmelo Anthony must be overturned by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in Dallas, Texas. And now I want to give you a quick legal analysis as to how and why his new legal team has a very compelling argument to present before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. If you are wondering my legal education and background, I encourage you to look at my bio. As you're aware, my brothers and sisters, the assigned judge that presided over Carmelo's criminal trial was a judge by the name of Judge John Roach Jr. This judge, who lived up to his last name, by the way, is a very biased and corrupt judge, Judge John Rhodes Jr. And this judge willfully committed judicial error when he allowed the assigned prosecutor to deviate from his obligation to adhere to the 1986 Supreme Court ruling of Batson v. Kentucky. I encourage you, my brothers and sisters, to read at your own leisure the full opinion of that particular case, Batson v. Kentucky, issued in 1986. But to give you a brief synopsis of what the Supreme Court opined in that matter, a criminal defendant is entitled to be judged by a member of their peers. As you're aware, my brothers and sisters, not one black juror participated in that trial because the assigned prosecutor, without justification or legal reason, struck each and every black juror from participating. Our beloved brother Carmelo Anthony was not judged by a member of his peers, but he was judged by members of the Klan that was hand-selected by the prosecutor and approved by the judge, which violated Carmelo's due process rights pursuant to Batson v. Kentucky, 1986. Now let's get on Carmelo's defense team. Boy, boy, boy. To your left is attorney Mike Howard. Mike Howard, a private criminal defense attorney who, in my opinion, was no way in shape or form qualified to represent any defendant that was indicted on a first-degree murder charge, was nevertheless appointed by the court to be Carmelo's lead defense counsel. Mr. Howard here violated Carmelo's due process rights when he chose to elicit the services of this corrupt attorney that you see here in the middle, attorney Toby Shook. Attorney Toby Shook violated Carmelo's due process rights when he accepted Mike Howard's offer to join the defense team, knowing there was a conflict of interest, a significant conflict of interest issue due to his extended close friendship with the assigned prosecutor in this case. There was no way under the sun that Mr. Toby Shook had the ability to provide sufficient and adequate legal representation for Carmelo if his ability to defend Carmelo was tainted by his friendship with the assigned prosecutor. Nevertheless, these two attorneys provided absolute ineffective counsel for Carmelo. A first-year law student could have done better. These attorneys committed egregious errors when they specifically failed to object on the record multiple acts of prosecutorial misconduct committed by the prosecutor in Carmelo's trial.
And let me tell you all why that's so very important that Mike Howard nor Toby Shook bothered to make a significant amount of objections. I mean, it's really almost unheard of for someone to be on trial for murder and their attorneys to not make objections. Because you see, you want to object to these things so that it's put on the record, so that when the appeal is filed, all of these things will be reviewed. So Mike Howard purposely did this, okay? Pay attention. Now, Kitty Karras says, I was with you until you said MAGA. That's disingenuous. I don't know why you feel it's disingenuous. I meant everything I said. The most blatantly racist devils and the most hateful hearts in the United States are all MAGA. What are you talking about? I'm not going to say that some Democrats aren't racist as well, but MAGA minions are the worst of the worst. And at the end of the day, that's my opinion. So I'll call them whatever I want. And that doesn't make me disingenuous just because you happen to disagree. Beloved. Okay, so let's get that straight for number one. All right, let's get that straight. And also, rather than saying the word racist all the time, I use the word MAGA because to me, they are the same. Okay,
Specifically, I use that when I'm on TikTok because there are certain words that we don't use. So I may say the same thing on here sometimes. Okay, not that I have to explain myself to you, but I just wanted to let you know that you don't get to dictate or choose what I say and how I say it. And if you don't, in fact, like it, well, you don't have to be here. But let's continue.
More specifically, the prosecutor in this case violated Federal Rule 701 when the prosecutor unlawfully, repeatedly elicited improper guilt opinions from lay witnesses that testified at Carmelo's trial. To break that down for those who don't understand the legal terminology, there were multiple witnesses that testified on behalf of the state. However, there were 4 witnesses in particular that testified at the state, for the state at the trial, that were close friends, fellow athletes, and classmates of Austin Metcalf that was under the tent on that fateful evening Austin Metcalf lost his life. These particular 4 witnesses were teenagers at the time of the incident and young adults at the time of the trial. None of these 4 particular witnesses contained any law degree, certification, or qualification that rendered them legally able to provide opinions.
It's cracking me up the way he's reading that. Big T 610 says, honestly, you're just assuming the knife is Austin's. There's no proof there is an actual M is carved on the knife. Could just be damaged from being used. You're really reaching here. Whether I'm reaching or not, it's my prerogative to do so. Okay, so I'll reach all I want. And also, if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. And the third thing I like to say is people like you reach all the time. Okay, that's why you all said that it wasn't self-defense, and you tried to lie and say that he wasn't jumped, and you tried to ignore all of the evidence that the people who actually saw the original video have come out and said. You tried to ignore the fact that someone has come out and said that, in fact, Hunter said out of his own mouth, but not just Hunter, 2 of his friends said right after, just minutes after the ambulance was leaving the track, that in fact, Carmelo picked up the tool that Austin and Hunter had used to put up the tent. So it's a very good likelihood and probability, quite plausible in my opinion, that it absolutely belonged to one or the other of the twins. Okay? So I don't think that's a reach. I think that's me using critical thinking skills and good old common sense. All right? So you have the day that you and your ancestors deserve. Goodbye. Let's continue.
To certain questions they were asked by the prosecutor during this trial. More specifically, during this trial, the assigned prosecutor asked these witnesses if they felt that whether or not Carmelo was justified in the stabbing of Austin Metcalf. The assigned prosecutor also asked these witnesses if they felt like Carmelo was defending himself when he stabbed Austin Metcalf. The prosecutor also asked a bunch of other questions that were procedurally improper to ask lay witnesses that did not have a law degree, certification, or expertise to give an opinion on. This line of questioning was supposed to be directed towards a use of force expert or a human factor expert, not teenagers that were friends of Austin Metcalf that was going to give a biased opinion anyway, which they did. Nevertheless, these crappy attorneys failed to object to this procedurally unlawful line of questioning that the prosecutor issued towards these particular.
Black American originals, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but Carmelo was not suspended for that same night. And here's the thing. I know that you probably typed it in on Google or ChatGPT and it told you that he was. But if you press ChatGPT and say, that isn't true, ChatGPT will change its story, because what it does, I've noticed, is that when someone reports something, whether it's true or not, if that's a report that came in first before other information, then ChatGPT will just mimic that information. But it's already been said and verified that Carmelo absolutely was not ever suspended. Okay, he was never suspended. Okay, not for that knife or anything else, and that's just the facts. Okay, Carmelo was a 3.7 student. Why would he be suspended? He was the captain of the track team and the football team. Okay, and he was at the track meet that day. For those of you who still think, the trolls that is, who may still think that he wasn't supposed to be there, he was supposed to be there. His coach asked him, in fact, to get there earlier, okay, so that he could help with the disabled children, which is something that he always did. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put you out of your misery. Have the day that you and your ancestors deserve, beloved. And if you are actually Black, because I know sometimes you all cosplay the MAGA crew, if you are actually Black, your ancestors are clearly the ones that snitched on my ancestors when they tried to escape. Okay? Now let's continue.
4 witnesses during Carmelo's trial. In addition, there was an expert that testified on behalf of the state at Carmelo's trial that needs to be investigated, tried, and convicted for perjury, because this so-called expert provided misleading testimony as to what the video that we all saw was dropped 2 days ago revealed. In other words, this so-called expert witness misled the jurors on what was actually shown in the video that we all saw that was dropped just 2 days ago. The assigned judge, Judge John Rhodes Jr., knew what he was doing when he issued an order depriving the media from their ability to live stream this trial. As you're aware, my brothers and sisters, in state court, the media can live stream a trial. In federal court, they cannot. The judge wanted to control the whole narrative of this trial to ensure an unlawful conviction of our beloved brother Carmelo Anthony. So he made sure that there was no record or video electronic evidence that would establish the misconduct that occurred during this trial that violated the civil rights of our beloved young brother Carmelo Anthony. These attorneys were absolutely ineffective and were not qualified, or at least Mike Howard was not qualified to represent absolutely anyone that was indicted and facing a first-degree murder charge. But yet he was appointed by the court. Carmelo was doomed from the moment the court appointed this unqualified attorney. We must rally behind the family now and financially support them and the attorneys as they embark on this appeal. Because if we stand idle to this situation, my brothers and sisters, this is going to keep happening, and next it can be your brother or sister or loved one. We must come together in unison and stand against this injustice that occurred in the trial that resulted in this unjust conviction of our beloved brother Carmelo Anthony.
All right. Now, Speak Your Mind says Eddie is a straight up snake that set up Carmelo Anthony to get jumped by the twins and their goons. Free Carmelo Anthony. Absolutely, I agree, beloved. He absolutely was, in my opinion. Now, Nero says, what's sad is these entitled Blacks don't have the same energy for the Black on Black violence in our own communities. Yes, we do. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for a second, because I have a little bit of time. My next live doesn't start till 12. So let's get into it. Here's the thing. We absolutely do. And if you are really Black, okay, because I don't know if you're really a Black person, but if you are, you seriously have to be a whole raccoon. So it's no shock that you wouldn't know that we do have concerns about violence amongst ourselves in our communities. I mean, that's one of the main reasons that the minister
Louis Farrakhan had the Million Man March decades ago. You see, we absolutely talk about these things in our communities. We have meetings, gatherings, okay? This is what we do. And we have activists and advocates and all of these things, okay? We also have people that do patrols and certain things. There's a lot that we do is all I'm saying. Now, as I said, if you're not really down with your own community, if you're in fact someone who looks like me, then you would not know that, because the thing of it is the people that look like me who behave and think like you with a colonized mind, you know, the average Negropean. Well, you work for the sole behest of the wanton supremacists because you want so desperately to be them, because you are ashamed of your own blackness and you loathe yourself and your ancestors, sadly. But also, I would like to point out that there is really no such thing as black on black crime. You see, the rate of black on black people killing one another or committing crimes upon another is very close to the rates and percentages of white people that also kill each other. Now, I would pull that up, but I don't feel like it because I just showed it like a week ago when I had someone equally as obtuse as yourself, just to show the receipts. But if memory serves me correctly, I do believe that white on white crime, because you see, murder and other crimes are clearly all about proximity. So black people kill black people, white people kill white people, and so on and so forth. And this is why when they conduct homicide investigations, they tend to speak with the family, friends, and co-workers of the victims, because they usually are killed by someone that they know, or at least someone who usually looks like them. Okay? And so with that being said, I do believe the ratio or the percentage for white on white murders is about 83 to 86%. And then for black on black would be about 84 or 86 to 89, if I'm not mistaken. But you can Google that to fact check for yourself. But I'm sure I'm somewhere close within the proximity if I'm not 100% accurate. Okay. And so since you're not here for Carmelo Nero, I'm going to bid you adieu. Have the day that you and your ancestors deserve. Your mother should have swallowed, clearly. Now, before I continue, let me just say this. If you don't support Carmelo Anthony, that's fine, because you're entitled to your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But what you will not do is come in here talking crazy, okay? Trying to make blanket statements about people who look like me, calling us any sort of names or saying anything that's racially inflammatory. That's what you won't do if you want to stay in this chat. Now, if you just want to voice the fact that you don't agree with what Carmelo did, or you do agree with the sentencing and the verdict, that's fine. But anything outside of that, you will get read for filth and then you'll be booted out of here. Now, let us continue. Okay, let us continue. So what I want to say, beloveds, is this. Carmelo was, quite frankly, unlawfully convicted. Some would even say that he was also wrongfully convicted, but there's a difference. So let's talk about it. So now a wrongful conviction is usually when there's something like mistaken identity, okay, false confessions, prosecutorial misconduct, police misconduct, faulty forensic science or ineffective assistance of counsel, perjury or false testimony, newly discovered evidence proving innocence. Okay, those are the things that you will primarily find when someone has been wrongfully convicted. Now, with that being said, the person is also usually innocent of a wrongful conviction. They usually are innocent of what they've been convicted of. Now, is Carmelo innocent or guilty of what he was convicted of? Well, in my opinion, he is innocent of it because he did not commit murder, because they didn't bring in anyone to prove and substantiate whether or not he had mens rea, actus rea, or malice aforethought, as I've told you all a myriad of times. That's how you establish intention. And with murder, there has to be intent. Now, in the state of Texas, as I previously told you, if there is if there's felony murder, then you have to definitely prove intent, because that would include something like robbery, or kidnapping and other things. But he was only convicted of murder. So they don't have to necessarily have intent in the state of Texas, but in most states they do. But what I will say is, even if we go by wrongful conviction, and here's the thing, the reason I say he's innocent is because what he did, there is no
that is not murder. He didn't premeditate it. He didn't lay in wait. What he did was self-defense. But even if they don't want to say it's self-defense, at the very least, they could have charged him with negligent homicide or manslaughter. Okay, but to say murder as if he just lay in wait or planned this all out or came looking for trouble, how do you go looking for trouble when the trouble comes to you? Okay, and that's already been substantiated with the receipts that have come out. Even though the video was cloudy, we all saw that Carmelo was there first, minding his own business, and then here come the thugs. Okay, all four of them. So now let's talk about an unlawful conviction. Now, hold on. Even with the wrongful conviction, there are some elements of the criteria that fit Carmelo's situation. For example, prosecutorial misconduct. Okay, and then as well as ineffective assistance of counsel and perjury and false testimony. Those kids all got it there and lied. That's just a fact. We all know it. They said different things in the beginning during the statements. It was obvious they were coached, okay, and coerced. And also, I'd like to say this. I found out as well, and let me just say allegedly, because I can't substantiate this simply because I was not there at the trial. But I have been told by several different sources that are quite reliable, in my opinion, that Jose is the one that I first of all told you that it was alleged that he was the one that was testifying, and he was talking about the fact that Austin did some sort of linebacker move that can basically control your whole body. That's me saying that it can control your whole body, but he basically said he did a linebacker move. Okay, once he started testifying, they called for a recess and they went into the chambers. And so Jose was the one that I told you people alleged was taken into chambers. But now I'm being told that he's also the one that was being coached by Jeff Metcalf on the stand. And I absolutely believe that because he's also one of the people who have been identified in that picture I showed you all days ago, where Jeff Metcalf had that cookout and invited over some of the teens from the school that were witnesses in May of 2025, right after the incident occurred. Well, he's been pointed out. Okay, people have said that's absolutely Jose, that he's one of those people that was sitting there. Okay, so please pay attention, but let's continue. Now let's talk about the unlawful conviction. So an unlawful conviction occurs when the conviction was obtained in violation of the defendant's constitutional or legal rights, regardless of whether the person is actually innocent. You see, that's the thing that the hateful MAGA minions, okay, don't seem to be able to grasp. Okay, they think, oh, he's guilty, he did it, da da da. Well, here's the thing: even if you think that he's guilty, the bottom line is it doesn't matter if there's a unlawful conviction. Okay, and here's why. Because if there is an unlawful conviction, that means that some of these things happened. Several of these things or all of these things. For first of all, or for starters, a prosecutor withholding exculpatory evidence. And that would be, as I told you all before, a violation, a Brady violation. Now, mind you, I absolutely believe that there was exculpatory evidence withheld by not only the prosecutor, but the defense as well. And that would include the original video that was shown to over 30 people at the school in 2025. The one that they no longer want to release. Okay? Racial discrimination in jury selection. Well, I've already talked about that because that's a Batson violation. So that definitely, both of those things have happened. The third thing is conviction based on evidence obtained through unconstitutional means. Okay? Not sure about that one, but denial of the right to counsel. That didn't happen. He absolutely had counsel. Juror misconduct that deprived the defendant of a fair trial. We didn't have that issue either. Conviction based on a fundamentally unfair proceeding. Absolutely. And that is one of the main key aspects. Okay, because that conviction was absolutely based on a fundamentally unfair proceeding. And if you think the devils are mad now, they're really going to be mad when either this conviction is overturned or Carmelo gets a new trial. Okay, and let's talk about an example of an unlawful conviction. Let's just say a defendant may have actually committed the crime, but if the prosecution concealed evidence that should have in fact been disclosed, the conviction could be considered unlawful because the legal process was violated. Okay, so let's talk about it because we already now know that Exhibit 34 was spoken about in the beginning, but they never really presented it during the trial. Okay? Now, the troll that was in the chat who said that, oh, you're reaching and it may not have been theirs just because it had an M, that could have been wear and tear. I would find it interesting and almost, I'm not going to say impossible, but very unlikely that the letter M was in the tool or the knife simply because of wear and tear. Okay? Clearly, people are saying that it was engraved. Okay? People are saying that it was engraved. And like I told you all over a week ago, that I was told that Hunter and Austin both carried knives. So, and Hunter said it was the one that they used to put up the tent. He said it himself. So I want you all to pay attention that this evidence that is being presented, you know, some of this stuff is my opinion, but much of the things that are coming out are actual facts. It's a fact that we've seen doctored footage with the wrong date on the police body cam, with a portion of the track scene being edited out. Okay, different things distorting the tape and all of that. How is the tape so blurry when we have all of this high technology these days? Okay, they can get a clear picture from a ring door cam. Okay, so make that make sense. So at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is he's either going to get a new trial or it's going to be overturned. But hold on, let's talk about this. You know, they love to say that we're the ones making it about race. And of course, we know that's all lies and BS. But I want you all to pay attention because the first judge in this case actually was threatened. And I believe that's why they got Judge John Roach Jr. or Judge Cockroach. But this lady right here, Judge Angela Tucker, if you remember, people were posting her picture and saying that she was going to be the judge, but she was receiving all sorts of threats, okay? Because they felt like, oh, she's black, so she's going to automatically rule in his favor. I guess they're too stupid to realize that that's the jury that gets to do so. Or maybe they were so concerned that she would absolutely have a fair trial, okay? And not allow the prosecutor to engage in prosecutorial misconduct in her courtroom. Either way, this woman was allegedly threatened. Okay, I want you all to pay attention, but they say we make everything about race. Okay, so let's go to this clip where the briefing attorney talks about the Carmelo Anthony case and says, will self-defense hold up in court? Now, we know this was 2 weeks ago before the verdicts, but so we don't really care about that bit of information. We've already heard about it. We already know the answer. But I do believe that he speaks on the judge being threatened. So let's get into it. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
There's a lot of concerns when it comes to jury selection and something that's high profile. You've always got your high profile concerns about, has anybody developed opinions about this, or what are people's thoughts? This case in particular has a lot of disturbing history when it comes to misinformation online, rumors, doxing, things like that. One of the previous judges had to get the FBI involved because of threats to her. Have people already heard of this case? Have they already formed opinions?
Okay, so you all heard that? Had to get the FBI involved. Okay, that's how bad they were threatening this woman. Death threats and all. But we're the ones that are making it about race? No, we never make anything about race. And in fact, we wish that race could be left out of certain things. As a matter of fact, if it could be left out of all things, and people just be treated equally based on their talents, their knowledge, and their experience, specifically when it comes to jobs and things of the like, promotions and whatnot. But, you know, there's a certain group of people, I like to call them MAGA, okay? They just don't want to have that. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this woman
Who said, let's bring back slavery, honey? I told y'all they want to take us back to Jim Crow, but the fact of the matter is we never really left, in my opinion. But let's get into it because this is what she posted under a video of Jeff Metcalf. Let's bring back slavery. Well, you know, try it if you want to. Okay, try it if you want to, Karen. I wonder if she still has a job after she's been exposed. See, this is what I want you all to remember. I have taken it upon myself to start exposing these racist devils, not just by their videos, but by their comments. Okay? When they make little slick racist comments, start doing videos about them on TikTok. Okay? And if you're a content creator here on YouTube, start doing them on here too. Okay? Let's get into it.
Back slavery and segregation. Karen Barczyk. Is this you? Wait, Karen Barczyk. This is you, right? And you're probably thinking, well, what you gonna do to me? You don't know where I work. I didn't put it anywhere in my LinkedIn. Good luck finding that out, buddy. You sure about that, Karen? You sure about that? You sure about that, Karen? Karen, you sure about that? You sure about that, Karen? Karen, you sure about that? Slavery, huh? Yeah, we're going to have you working like a slave at McDonald's by the end of this week. Because what you mean, bring back slavery? I'm sure the folks at Comtech is not going to be A-okay with you sitting here going around telling black folks that you want slavery to come back, right? That you want to put black people back in chains. Right, Karen? Do us all a favor. Stop being a Karen. Bring back slavery and segregation. Karen Barczyk. Is this you? Wait, Karen Barczyk. This is you, right? And you're probably thinking, well, what you gonna do to me? You don't know where I work. I didn't put it anywhere in my LinkedIn. Good luck finding that out, buddy. You sure about that, Karen? You sure about that? You sure about that, Karen?
Okay, I bet Karen didn't have that on her bingo card for 2026. Now, Beverly Wilson says, no straws, just the truth, which you seem to not have in you, but the Most High sees and knows. Now, are you talking about me or something else? You know, sometimes things don't come across clearly when they're text. Are you talking about me? And if so, please tell me one thing that I've lied about. Okay, please tell me one thing that I've lied about if in fact you're talking about me. Now, with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention because you see, the devil is in fact very, very busy. Okay, the devil is in fact very, very busy. I want you all to pay attention because I'm going to show you something that just goes to prove that. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Before I get to that, let's go to this next clip about black on black crime. Okay?
Are inherently more violent than white people, you're an idiot or you've been propagandized. I've got people in my comments sections arguing that the reason the homicide rates in these red states are so high is because of all the black people in the Democrat cities within those states. It's garbage. We're putting it to bed right now. I've got FBI homicide rate data. I've got U.S. Census Bureau data. I've got the 5 cities with the highest percentage of their population who self-identifies as black. So according to these people in my comments section, they should have the 5 highest murder rates in the country, right? Number 1 is South Fulton, Georgia, where 90.6% of the population self-identifies as black. Their murder rate, below the national average. You know what else is below the national average? Their poverty rate. I'm sure that's a correlation that won't persist throughout this entire thing and around the world. Number 2, Jackson, Mississippi, 82% self-identify as black. Murder rate is near the top. You know what else is near the top? Their poverty rate. That's 2.63 times higher than the national average and is the 8th highest in the country. Number 3, East Orange, New Jersey, 79.1% self-identify as black. Should have the 3rd highest murder rate in the country, right? It's not in the top 200. It is above the national average, just like their poverty rate. Number 4, Lauderhill, Florida, 76.3% identify as black. Should have the 4th highest murder rate in the country, right? It's not in the top 100. It is above the national average and slightly higher than East Orange, but so is their poverty rate. at 19.4%. And number 5, Detroit, Michigan, should have the lowest murder rate on this list, right? 75.3% self-identify as Black. Their murder rate is the 8th highest in the nation. Their poverty rate is the 4th highest in the nation, 3.08 times the national average. Look at this table I'm building. Right now, I've got 40 cities with populations of 40,000 or higher sorted by homicide rate. Not a single one of them in this top 40 list is below or at the national average for poverty. They are all above, and as you get higher and higher in magnitudes above the poverty rate, the homicide rate tends to increase. We've got nations around the world who have done this research for years. We know that poverty and lack of opportunity lead to higher crime rates. Look at this map of the states with these high homicide rates. You've got Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, New Mexico, Michigan. People are like, oh, it's the Black people. It's the poverty. They're the poorest states in the country. Now, if you want to talk about why these people are so impoverished, you'll probably start asking yourself some questions that make you uncomfortable about a system that allows these things to perpetuate themselves.
Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, what he said is true. Okay, but here's the thing. Most of the PDF file crimes are committed by Caucasian men. Most of the grapes are committed by Caucasian men. The arson, the white-collar crimes, the serial killings, the mass shootings, the school shootings, the spree killings. Okay? Now, Black people may be leading in burglaries and robberies, and like he said, this is due to impoverished areas that they live in, and this is all by design. Right? And there may be high homicide rates, but the fact of the matter is the ratio or the percentage of white on white murders is just a tad bit below the Black on Black. And I find it interesting because they love to say Black on Black crime, but never speak about white on white crime, because that is nothing more than propaganda. Okay, we should start calling out whites on white crime. And they also love to try and act as though we don't care about crime in our own communities, when in fact we do. But you see, the lamestream media who tries to demonize Black people very often as much as they can, and even one of the greatest reporters and journalists, Max Weber, said before he died that one of the things that he hated the most about being a journalist was the stories they had to make up about African Americans. Okay? So when we are doing good things in our community and when we're out there advocating to stop the crime and the violence in our communities, they're not going to post that on television. They're not going to have that all over the news media. They want to show us in the worst way possible. Well, when you see white people fighting and having brawls, just like some of us do, they don't show that in the news. Okay? And I think that's very important to note. Now, at Me24 says, she's saying that on your behalf, everything these people are doing is seen by the Most High. You know, I was just making sure. That's why I asked for clarification, beloved. And that's why I didn't go in. And that's why I also said that sometimes things don't come across the right way or the way you intend them to in a text as they would as when you spoke them. But I did figure that that was someone who looks like me because they call the Creator the Most High. Okay? So, but thank you for clarifying that, beloved. I appreciate you. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to go to this last clip. And don't forget, once again, beloveds, that there is going to be another live starting at 12 o'clock, and that's your war updates if you care to find out what's really going on. Okay? But I want you to pay attention to this video because to me, this just verifies that we absolutely are engaged in spiritual warfare. Okay? Please pay attention. Also, there's a little treat for you at the end. I thought y'all might like.
Have y'all seen this video? Watch this one right here.
Y'all, I am not lying. 4 different times I have recorded this video. Twice I pulled over on the side of the road, pulled back on the road, only to discover my camera stopped working while I was filming. Just now I filmed it again and went and looked, and it was never recording, but I hit record before I put it up. I don't even know if it's recording right now. Matter of fact, you're recording right now. You bow your little heads, close your little eyes. Heavenly Father, the warfare is huge. God, the warfare is big. God, the world is heavy. Lord, I ask that you fill us with your Holy Spirit. Strengthen up your army. God, we're all walking through this battle right now in this world that is set up to make us feel like we wake up failing. God, I ask that you keep our eyes on you. You told us that the pursuit of money was the root of all evil, not because money is evil, but because when we take our eyes off of you and your plan, we lose sight of what it is you want us to do. We start walking in the chaos and the darkness that is the world. So I ask you, God, again, fill us up with your Holy Spirit and remind us that you are in control. Some of us are looking at bills higher than we've ever seen.
I'm having trouble connecting. Check your network connection and try again.
Some of us are looking at bank accounts sitting at less money than we've ever seen before, Lord. Some of us are looking at fear. And I'm asking you right now, God, to strengthen your army. And we are that. We are the chosen. We are the small. And you said it in your word, Lord. You said that the small would be great. Lord, you said it yourself. You sent your son down to remind us of the army that we can be for you. God, I'm asking you to strengthen us right now. Keep us on this path of righteousness for you. God, you cannot be defeated by the world. The world cannot have its hand over you, so it cannot have its hand over me. I walk through this world just like I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil. God, my eyes are on you. I'm asking you to strengthen your army, to show us what it is that you want, and then send us on our way. I thank you and I praise you in every circumstance. In Jesus' name, amen. Send this to your mama. Send this to your friend. Save it and listen to it again when it feels heavy. Don't you stop fighting. And don't you let this world have you again. You crawled out of that darkness to seek him. And you found him. And you're on the path. And it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's heavy. Don't you stop. Don't you give up now. I love you.
No weapon formed against me shall prosper. No, it won't work. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. It won't work. Said God will do what he said he would do. He will stand by his words. He will come through. No weapon.
All right. So bless their hearts. Shout out to the good white folk. Okay, shout out to the good white folk because there are some. Now, with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention. When she was saying that prayer, now, mind you, she recorded one time and it disappeared, okay, and acted like she wasn't recording another time. And then as she was trying to do it again, did you all hear how Siri or Alexa interfered? That's the devil, okay? And I want you to pay attention. That young lady has a powerful spirit. She has a powerful spirit. Those are the types of people that Satan attacks. Those are the type of people that Satan attacks. I want you to pay attention. Okay, I've experienced those same attacks myself. Okay? And that young man was singing that song from his heart, and he sounded good. And I thought it would be great to play him singing it to go along with his fellow Caucasian sister. All right. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Someone just put in the chat that a Black woman was found hung in Florida. Now, I had not heard anything about that. Okay. TC Dan, I love you too, beloved. I love all of you. Okay, not the trolls, mind you. Okay, so with that all being said, I can't remember who that was that told me about the hanging in Florida, but thank you, beloved. Let's talk about it because here's what I found. I looked it up really quick. Okay, It says her name is Tonia Nicole Miller. On June the 18th of 2026, 27-year-old Tonia Nicole Miller was reportedly found deceased and hanging from a tree at Gwen Cherry Park in the Gladview area of Florida. Because official police reports are scarce. Oh, aren't they always conveniently scarce when there's a Black person hanging from a tree? Okay, strange fruit. Okay, her family and community members have publicly raised questions about the circumstances and are seeking a more thorough investigation. Well, you know, I'm sure the police have already determined that, in fact, it was self-inflicted, because that's what they always say. That's what they always say. Okay, so please pay attention. With that all being said, let's go to a TikTok about it. Now, I didn't get to watch this TikTok. I just grabbed the first one I saw. Okay, because y'all know I'm multitasking here. Now, do you all see her in the distance? That is so very sad. Okay, that is so very sad and absolutely nefarious, but I want you to pay attention. We're the ones who make everything about race, okay? Just don't you all forget that. We're the ones who make everything about race. Now, if you don't think that Black woman being found hung has anything to do with this Carmelo Anthony case, it would behoove you to think again, okay? It would behoove you to think again. Now, hold on. Let me see if I can find any more information on this. That's the only TikTok that I even see. Do people even know about this? Hold on. I'm still looking. Let me see here. Hold on, beloveds. Yeah, that's the only thing I see, which I find very interesting. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and conclude the broadcast, but my prayers and condolences and my heart goes out to the family of the deceased. Okay, may she rest in peace. And may the devils that did this, because we know it wasn't self-deletion, okay, they can stop the cap, but may the devils who did this be brought to justice, whether by the man's court or by the Most High's. Okay, so listen, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Don't forget to tune in for your war updates at 12. One of the moderators, if you could be so kind, is to put that link in the chat for me, please. I would appreciate you. Okay, so each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And just also remember, Truth Brown said, what was her name again? Her name was Tonia. Hold on, beloved. And listen, I just want you all to pay attention to the fact that these nefarious trolls, they are so obsessed with us that they actually join our channels. Okay, so they can come in and try to disrupt and distract and spread their propaganda and their lies and their hatred, okay, to lower our vibrations. But we will not sink to the depths of devils, okay? We won't sink to their vibrations, but we will go in on them. Now, we're not going to say we won't do that, okay? Her name is Tonia Nicole Miller, 27 years old, found on June the 18th. Okay, so with that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther. shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got